The Grind City Media 2026 NBA Mock Draft presented by Southland Casino Hotels, and we are at the final pick of the NBA Draft Lottery. Now, we're going to continue this for picks 15 and 16 because the Grizzlies have two picks in the top 16. We talked about number three, and then we'll wrap it up in a couple of days with the number 16 pick with the Memphis Grizzlies making that selection. But in terms of the official lottery, the Charlotte Hornets are on the clock at number 14. And I'm joined by my guy, my lifelong brother in the industry, Rod Boone from the Charlotte Observer, who's been on the Charlotte Hornets beat for the last decade, man. He's seen that team through some growing pains. He's seen them through the highs and the lows. And right now, they're on the come again. You know, the Hornets were one of the brightest teams in the NBA this year, a 25-game improvement from last season to this season to get a winning record for only the second time in the last 10 years. They were the last team out in the play-in round, which is why they have the 14th lottery position pick right there. But a lot of great things are happening in Charlotte right now around Charles Lee as a young coach with that franchise. And Rod, I want to start there, man. When you look at the turnaround that team took this season, what were some of the positives that you saw and how much energy is around that organization right now with this movement?
Well, the main thing was health, Mike. I mean, the team the last couple of years has not been healthy. You look at Brandon Miller, he's been finished the last couple of seasons because of injuries, same with LaMelo Ball. But when you have those two guys healthy, your two pillars, they're really good players. And that's the main thing for the Hornets. It just starts with health. So when you have those guys out there to be able to build around, you add Nipple to that mix. You have a healthy Miles Bridges out there playing pretty much every game. And Musa Diabate also the starting five. They just were a really good, solid team. So to me, the Hornets have always had the talent the last couple of years. It's more about their health. So to have that health come through this past year was good for everybody. We'll see if we can keep going forward, next year as well.
When you talk about that health, that's key, absolutely, because it seemed like they've never been able to have that four-man group or that five-man group together healthy. And when they were healthy together, that winning percentage was sky high. So they were able to win a lot of games from that standpoint. And for one stretch from January to March, they were the hottest team in the Eastern Conference. And I want to go back to LaMelo Ball right there because at the beginning of the season, he came into the season kind of questioned. There was a big national ESPN piece about the maturity level of some of these young point guards or some of these franchise point guards. He was lumped in with the Ja Morant and the Trey Youngs of the NBA in terms of could these guys continue to be built around? And he answered, I mean, in emphatic fashion that yes, he's ready to take that next step. He did it with his health and his play. What did you see in terms of the growth from LaMelo as it related to taking that next step?
He became more of a leader a little bit off the court and on the court. You talked about with LaMelo. We know he has the skills, and if he's healthy on top of that, then he's a really good player. But the next step for the average player in the NBA to become a superstar is to lead by example, whether it's off the court and or on the court. And he did that a lot this year. I mean, there's one game, I think it was game three the season back in Washington. They weren't playing very well. They were 1-1, come off a loss against Philadelphia a couple of days, night earlier. It was a back-to-back. Miller went in the locker room, said, "Hey, guys, halftime." Said, "Guys, we're not playing very good. Let's gotta go out there and play a little bit better in the second half." They came out there, killed the Wizards in the second half. And to me, that just showed growth right there. LaMelo previously would not do that. He would have somebody else come out there and be a veteran voice. But for him to be able to be that lead guy, be somebody who's here in the summertime working out with the guys as well. Just that leadership part is like the next level for him. And he took a good step this past year. Now next year is going to be another leap forward. See if he can do it again, keeping forward.
This Hornets team made some trades at the trade deadline. Added some pieces that helped them. Down the stretch when you talk about what they were able to do from that standpoint. But it still is going to be a lot about Con Knipple took a huge step forward. Those two guys, Ball and Knipple, were the two of the top five NBA shooters in three-point range this past season. You talked about Brandon Miller being healthy and being explosive again, and what you have on the front line. Now you look at the timeline. Is this team right now ready to take the next step with this youth movement? And they're not young, but they're 2, 3, 4 years in. So they have some level of experience, some level of youth. Do they need to go more veterans now to augment what they have, or do they still want to continue to go along the youth movement and take the next step incrementally? And perhaps that's where this number 14 pick come in.
Well, I think to me, you want to be able to add a little bit of youth, but for the most part, you really want more veteran players here right now because you have the core players in LaMelo, Nipple, Brendan Miller, Those guys are your core right now, even though, Kobe White in there as well. He's got to come back as a free agent, but all signs for now, he's going to do that. So if that's the case, then they have the core right there. So it's about becoming more about a veteran presence. Who's going to come in there and teach you how to win when the fourth quarter is close and you're tired and back to back? Who's going to teach you how to be the player to go out there, have the right nutrition to again be healthy throughout the season. Those guys don't grow on trees. They had a couple of players here like Taj Gibson last year to kind of help out with that, but you have to be able to have that more than just a season or two in my mind. So I have to be able to find that next guy to come in here and be around for a good 2, 3, 4 years to me. So I need that veteran player to come in here and be the next part of the Hornets in terms of get to that next level that they want to get to.
And what do they need then? So if you're going to look at a veteran is not going to come in at 14, so that means a veteran will probably be coming in trade or free agency. But at 14, you're at a very, very deep part of the draft right there. The options are limitless in terms of where you can go. There may be some wings or some guards that didn't get in the top 10 that kind of fall back a little bit. There's some bigs that are certainly intriguing in that range right there. What do the Hornets need from that standpoint? Before I get your pick, what are the needs that they want to identify with at that number 14 slot?
I think they want to get a little bit more tougher inside. You want a little more
Okay.
physicality. That was a word I heard a lot when the season ended against Orlando in the playing tournament. You want to go out there, be a little more physical with those guys. And at times, the Magic pushed them around. There's a couple times early in the season when the Pistons did the same thing, Detroit Pistons. So the Hornets have to be able to come back and figure out how do you impose your will more on teams. And to me, that's the big man. You go out there, find you a big guy to, be a little bit more rugged inside at the 4, maybe 5 spot.
Mhm.
And that will help you against the bigger teams that will come out there and impose their will against you come playoff time.
All right, so we're right at it right now, man, with the final pick of the NBA draft lottery. And again, we got two more picks after this. 15 is Chicago, 16 is Memphis, and we'll wrap up with Memphis in a couple of more days as we head to New York City, where I'll be for the NBA draft. But with the number 14 pick of the Grind City Media 2026 NBA draft lottery, Rod Boone of the Charlotte Observer says that the Hornets will select.
I think Hans Steinbach from Washington, again, talked about a big guy. He's a center. He can take you inside or outside. He can dunk and finish on you on top of your head. But the big thing in the NBA, as you know, Mike, is they have a 5 man nowadays who can take you outside, shoot the 3-pointer. That's a really big weapon to have because look at somebody, Victor Wembanyama, coming up in the finals. I mean, if you're able to bring him away from the basket, helps you as a guard get your play to be able to get to the rim a little bit more, maybe get fouled or find somebody else on the wing. So you can Hornets to me find somebody who can help play the 4/5 spot, get a 3-pointer on occasion, dunk on you, get the rebounds, help out with the alley oops. That to me is next level. And if I'm the Hornets, Hans Steinbach, he kind of finished. He feels in that round right now.
You and I both saw Hans at the NBA Draft Combine. You know, we spoke to him. He's one of those guys that was one of the most productive bigs in the country coming down the stretch over the last 6 weeks of the regular season. He was a double-double machine. Like his rebounding was elite level in terms of what he was able to do, averaging double figures in rebounds, but he also can give you some scoring. He was just starting to figure out how dominant he could be right towards the end of the season. And there was some talk that he might go back and play another season in college. But if you're in the middle of this lottery or late in the lottery right now in the middle of the first round, you certainly take your chances at taking a step to the next level. So that would be a great addition for the Hornets front line. They certainly need to bulk up a little bit more there. I like that pick right there, and we'll see if they end the lottery section, lottery portion of our mock draft, with that being the case in New York City in a couple of days. So for Rod Boone from the Charlotte Observer, track all of his work at the Charlotte Observer going into this draft and beyond in Summer League 2. I'm Michael Wallace with Grind City Media. You joined us for the 2026 NBA mock draft presented by Southland Casino Hotel. Keep it locked on us because we got two more picks to go, and then we'll be headed to New York.